we are here to talk about your civil rights project and the research associated with it. Okay? I've got some good sources, I think, that should help you in your approach to this research, and hopefully some ways of using Noodle tools that will turn out to be helpful to you as opposed to just terrible, but we will see. And anyway, I am Miss Ellis. I think I know most people in here, but I always feel like I should introduce myself, especially this year since we've had students come back who I might never have met. So, and it's very hard to see whoever, I have to say, masks are making it very hard for me to identify everybody, so I'm sorry. Here we go. Civil Rights Project research. My objectives today are pretty simple. Have you all already kind of created your research question? Yes? Okay, I know you were supposed to. My goal is for you to find and use evidence to support your questions, okay, to investigate them, and that you'll be able to fill in some of your knowledge gaps. We might not be able to do that in class today, but I'm hoping to give you the tools for you to do that on your own. This project is due on March 8th, it looks like, which is a while away, and I know it feels like maybe forever away, but it's going to be here before you know it, so hopefully you'll use this time in class to help you make some progress. All right? So, let's start out with just talking about some of the events that you're researching. Will you share with me, anybody, what events you're researching for your project? Yes?
King's assassination.
Okay, Martin Luther King's assassination? Okay. Do you have your second event? Have you decided what that is yet?
I think it's the Los Angeles riots.
Okay, so you're doing 1960s and much more current. Okay, I like it. All right. Anybody else will share with me their events they're thinking about for their doing? Ralph, what do you have?
I haven't finalized the complete question yet.
Okay. Do you have an idea of what events interest you?
I'll probably probably the women's rights in World War II.
Okay.
Abraham.
Is that on Mr. Griffin's list?
It might be.
Okay, because remember, it's all civil rights, and it's,
It has to be on the list.
I believe it has to be on the list. Is that true? Does it have to be on the list that each
Or
year?
he can approve it.
Or he can approve it. Okay, all right. Okay. Anybody else will share with me their events that they're thinking about? Yes?
President Truman and breaking the military.
Okay. All right, and do you have a second one that you're using?
Probably James Meredith, enrolling at the University of Mississippi.
Okay. Because remember, those sound like a good combination. Remember, you're taking two events, analyzing them, and talking about the impact that they had on our history as a country, correct? Yes?
Yeah.
Maybe? Am I making that up? Okay. That's my understanding. So, all of you should have a research question at this point in time, but even if you don't, you all should at least know, I think, have an idea of what events you're looking at. Okay? At least that's what Mr. Griffin had shared with me. If not, we'll kind of ratchet down what we're doing. Let's do this. How many people have a research question? Can you raise your hand high so I can see them? Okay. All right. We are going to move on in that direction then. Have you done some research already to find information on your events? Madison, have you done any work yet?
Not really, because we kind of switched between topics.
Okay, so you've changed your topic, so you're back to the beginning. Okay. Chrissy, do you have any research on yours yet?
No.
Okay. Has anybody researched yet? Done any research? Yes. Share with me. What have you got?
Well, I haven't really written some body content yet, but I've looked at some sources for one of the events that we're using.
That's fine. I'm not anticipating that you've written anything, just that you're looking at sources, hopefully. So what source did you find?
Let me open my Noodle.
Okay. Let me ask see this as Logan is doing that. How many of you, have all of you created your Noodle Tools project already? So you have that, okay. That's good to know, okay. All right. Maria, do you have any sources so far? No, okay. So at this point, we haven't had a ton of success yet with our research because it sounds like you haven't done a lot of research. Is that correct? Would that be kind of where we are?
Yeah.
Okay. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, what do you got? What do you have?
So I've done some research on the executive order that was signed for the equal hiring rates.
Okay.
I learned that how it was good intention, but it eventually collapsed because of lack of funding and power to enforce what they wanted to do.
Okay, that's great. Did you import that into your Noodle Tools? You did, it sounds like.
I did some importing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah.
Okay. All right, so this next question, what are you struggling with? It sounds like we're not at a point where you're struggling with your research because you haven't done a ton of research. So we'll skip over that. I just want to give you some reminders. I know you all have used Noodle Tools in the past, correct?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. With varying degrees of success, I think. I think some of you are probably pretty good with Noodle Tools and some of you are not. But I'm just going to share with you that Noodle Tools is a way to organize your research. And the way to have the best results in your research is to, one, have your project open before you even start looking at the databases or internet sources, okay? Have that project open and ready for you. Two, import your citations as you find your sources, okay? While you're looking at it and decide that it is important to what you're researching, import the citation, export it from the database into Noodle Tools, then go to the annotation window and write your 3 sentences about why you chose it. Because you know what? You just chose it right now. And you have to have an idea of what made it important to you. So rather than have to read it again and figure it out again, just do it now as you created it, okay? And 4, as long as you're reading it and you found something that strikes your interest, that has something to do with your research question, create a note card. So you don't have to go back and keep rereading this article again and again, or this bill again and again, or watch this documentary again and again, okay? There's other things we can do that will help you a little bit, and we'll talk about that once we open up Noodle Tools and talk about it a little bit more, but these are just reminders. Is there anybody here who can give me a testimonial for Noodle Tools? Why a person likes Noodle Tools? Is there anybody here who likes Noodle Tools? Not one. Not even my AP seminar students from last year. Nobody likes it. Okay. You have to use it, right? Can you say anything nice about it, Madison?
Okay, it is helpful when you need to keep track of your sources because you need to go back to something. I do like it.
Right.
And if you need quotes.
Yes.
Are good for quotes.
Okay. So keeping the quotes kind of organized and being able to find your stuff. It is one place where everything is kept. Did you do it this way? Did you use these steps when you've used it in the past? Where you always have it open and you annotate it as soon as you... Yeah. Okay. Connor, what about you? Can you share something you like about Noodle Tools? Anything at all, or you got nothing for me?
Probably basically one thing I think of is the simple organization. But the note cards, I guess you don't have to keep reading stuff because you know why you had it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And the annotations are good for that. You don't have to you know what you used it for.
Right.
It's used for background knowledge, it's used for that.
Right.
But that's useful too.
Yeah. So begrudgingly, you'll say there's some useful things.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. All right. Now, anybody else have anything to add? Okay. For citations, is it good? Is it nice to have all the citations already done for you?
Yeah.
I guess the only problem with this is if you're using things that are web resources that don't come with a citation, right? And then that makes it a little bit harder, but we can address that. All right, so you haven't done much research yet. As we are going to have a little time in class today to do some research. So as we think about research, why don't you guys go ahead, go to the library page, open up the databases, click on the databases banner. And look at our databases and more image. And scroll through there a little bit. And while you're at it, you might as well open up your Noodle Tools as well. Just open up your Noodle Tools project. But as you look at these databases, which databases might be helpful for a project on civil rights in the United States of America? What might be helpful? Logan, what if you share with us where you did your first little bit of research?
I did some Gale and Context U.S. history.
Okay.
And I also did some Credo reference.
Which is now called Source. But yes, those are two very good places to start, and I would suggest both of those places. Thank you for taking the initiative and getting started on your research and sharing us. What did you have more luck with one than the other?
I've used Gale and Context more because it has more specific document type stuff.
Right.
But if you just look around, that's also valid to use. Use whatever you want.
So Source would be a really great replacement for Wikipedia. Can you cite Wikipedia for this particular project?
No.
You probably shouldn't, right? But if you're looking for that kind of information that you might find on the Wikipedia splash page for Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail, right? Rather than go to Wikipedia, you could go to Source Reference. It is full of reference information. So it's the facts, just the facts, right? Give you great background knowledge and allow you to get an understanding of the event, and also maybe glean some search terms that would help you to be able to search better for your project, okay? And then U.S. history is should be your go-to, right? To go to Gale and Context U.S. history, because this is U.S. history. That's perfect. It's set up for us. Anybody else have any suggestions about where you might go to create an information product? Specifically, we're doing multimedia, so we've got websites and documentaries, right? Where might you go to get stuff to make your website or documentary interesting? Yes, Madsen.
You can use the classroom videos.
Absolutely. Have you used it before?
No, but I've looked through it.
Yeah, it's got great resources there, super easy to cite. You can clip it, either use the clips that they have or adjust the clips to just what you want. So that's super easy. We'll look at that in a minute. Anybody else have any other suggestions? Rachel, do you have any suggestions? Yes.
I find JSTOR to be helpful if you can find like a good article or a book or whatever.
JSTOR is always amazing. I would not suggest you start at JSTOR, but I think that once you...
Definitely like an ending thing.
Yes.
Like you don't start with it.
Right. So our reference is kind of here at the bottom of our pyramid, right? If we're looking at stuff, get that background knowledge, understand the concepts. JSTOR is way up here at the top because now we've got critical thinking going on. We've got academic journals that are peer-reviewed. And oftentimes the vocabulary can kind of make it difficult or inaccessible, but I think JSTOR is fabulous. If you can plan your project, in such a way that you can get to those JSTOR articles, absolutely. Yes?
Is an Encyclopedia Britannica a viable source to use?
It is a viable source to use. Absolutely. We do not have, so when you use Encyclopedia Britannica, you're using a free version that you can access on the web. but we don't have the paid-for version that gives us a more robust collection of documents.
Okay.
But there's no reason why you shouldn't use it.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, that falls into the reference type stuff, so background knowledge,
Okay.
right? Okay. So let's go ahead and start at source. Someone throw out an event they're interested in. Yes.
Dr. Martin Luther King assassination.
Assassinate. Okay. I think I spelled that wrong. Let's see if it will. Okay. Is it two S's? Is it two S's? I think it's both.
It's two at the
Both
beginning.
in the beginning.
I think so.
Let's see. There we go. Okay. All right. So we've got a bunch of articles here. We've got 545 results. Okay. We could narrow it down by adding some more search terms, right? If we put what we have there first in quotations and then add something else. If we click on, click on this one. So these are all, like I said, they're encyclopedias or other types of things. Here's one that's the Hutchison Unabridged Encyclopedia with Atlas and Weather Guide. So I'm not sure if that, we can look at any one we want to. But here's one about Martin Luther King Jr., Encyclopedia of American Studies. I'm going to click on that one. And it's going to give me this article, not super long, with a nice image. Can we use that image?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. And you can get the citation for the image. It's listed there already. There's a bibliography that can help you maybe get some other ideas of where to go. We are doing, if I'm correct, MLA in this class. Is that right? Or Chicago? I'm guessing you're going to pick MLA because you're more familiar with that. But they have the different options. If we click on MLA, we get the MLA citation. But what we do not have here is the option to export that citation, right? I don't see a noodle tool symbol or anything like that. So what do? How do I make this work? Yes?
So you can copy that MLA citation.
Okay.
You go into Noodle Tools,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can do a quick site copy and paste the citation.
Absolutely. You know how to use your noodle tools, don't you?
Yeah, I mean there also is a button that says quick site.
Yes, there is. Yes, we're gonna. Yeah. So, is there one up here? I was going to go to.
whenever you were editing that.
Oh, okay. Well, I was already in an interview box, so okay. So here it is. It's going to ask you some questions. I'm going to create a new citation. Where did I get my information from? I got it from a database, right? It was source reference. And then it says, what is it? It is an encyclopedia article. Here it is. Let's see. It's going to be up here. Okay, we're going to call it newspaper reprinted article. That's from a book. It's from a book. And so we'll go over here, and we'll go here to where it says copy and paste citation, which is the quick cite. And rather than import it, because we can't, we'll Command V, we'll paste it here, add the publication and copyright date, any of that kind of stuff. And right here, while we're in here, why was this important to us? What about it made it important to you? You've got to put it there 3 sentences. Once you've done it, you don't have to go back and do it again, right? It's just the whole source is there waiting for you to use. And then, if you save it, if you're following the guidelines of how to use Noodle Tools the most effectively so that you only have to look at your articles once, what would be the next thing you would do?
Make a note card over.
Make a note card, right? So we're going to come here. Thank you. We're going to come here. We're going to come here where it says note cards, and you're going to click on new. All right? And you've all seen these note cards before. I'm not going to go through and share with you what to do again. Just quickly copy and paste the citation, though, right? And then from there, put it in your own words, and then you can continue. The best thing, make sure that it is linked to your source. The best thing that you could do is just get that information out of your head and onto that note card so you can move on to your next source. Okay, and you might make 3 or 4 note cards. All right. All right, so that is Credo Source. If we went to U.S. history, which was suggested, throw out something. What is something that someone is researching? What event? Connor, what are you researching?
I'll maybe figure it out for you.
Okay. All right. Did someone? I saw someone raising their hand. Yes, thank you.
Brown's Board of Education.
Okay. Okay, and I always love it when it comes up bold-faced because they've got a whole splash page then and lots of information for us. Okay, the first thing that they've given us here is a very general reference article for you to read so that you can know all the background information, okay? When you come down here with any Gale context database, this banner is your friend, okay? Look at it and think about what you need. There's 19 audio files. If you're doing a documentary, helpful or not? Right? 34 images, 20 primary sources. Now my guess is not everything there is going to be applicable to your argument or your question, right? But some of it will be. And all of it comes with citations, right? And all of it will be addressed or, made accessible to you. So if we look at, I would start with, if you're looking at this for background information, I would look at the reference documents and start there. Here's the Encyclopedia of Children and Childhood in History and Society. Look at that. If we click on it, images we can probably use, more bibliography. Come here. Oh, this one allows us to export, okay? So select it in MLA. Click on Noodle Tools. It has imported it. All I have to do is accept it into the appropriate project. And then I come here, and there it is, perfect and beautiful. Wait. I want to say it's perfect and beautiful. Is it this one? I guess it is. Okay, and then add a new note card. Right? And actually, I forgot to say, annotate it, right? Annotate the source before you do anything else. Why is it important to you? So again, as you're doing this, you're building your reference or your annotated bibliography. How many sources do you need to annotate? How many sources do you need?
You need 9 sources that are text-based and 1 interview, I believe, which is either made by yourself or from another source.
Absolutely, correct. So you need, and you don't need to annotate any of your photographs, correct? So just your text-based sources. But you're going to have photographs in either a website or a documentary. So let's see. Let's go to classroom video and just give one more little explanation of how to use this, because I think most of you haven't used this. Who has used classroom video on demand before? Nobody. Okay. This is, I think this is going to be a huge gift for you if you take advantage of it. If we go ahead and type in March on Washington, and we just search, it's brought up over 1,000 results. So we might want to refine it. If you're specifically interested in letter from a Birmingham jail, you might add that in quotes, okay, and get that. But if we just click on, let's click on the first one and see what it's like. There's the video. There are segments that you can go to directly if they're interesting to you, if they match what your criteria is for your project.
Through a pivotal year of the fight for civil rights.
All right.
The injustice
So here we've got audio, we've got visual. We can come here, we can click on whichever segment is important to us. And then we can add it to a playlist if we want to. We can share it. If we share it, we can get an embed link that you can use in your website. But what I love about and also if you just wanted one segment, a segment that is different than what they've created for you, you can go here and you can choose what segment you want. And all of it works with the same citation that you can import into Noodle Tools. Okay? It's all there, it's all super easy. And I would say that you could find a lot of footage that would be helpful for your documentary or your website. Just make sure you cite it. And there's no reason not to with it being so helpful. So easy. All right, so one last resource that I think people forget about a lot is the Library of Congress. This is a free resource provided by our government that has all kinds of primary sources in here. If I click, I want them to search everything, and I put in the March on Washington. This is, like I said, tons of primary sources. If it finishes processing and gives us some results. Sometimes difficult to use. Sometimes the results are a little difficult, or it seems kind of persnickety. So keep trying. If you can't find what you need, come see me, come see your teachers, and ask them to help you refine your search terms. It's still processing. I would suggest this as a place to go once you've got your background knowledge and you've developed some search terms. Oh, here we go. Okay, that works. Okay. All right, we are gonna. We will maybe come back to this. We'll allow them to fix their technical difficulties. But here are resources. You are welcome to go to web resources. But remember, with web resources, you're going to need to come up with a citation for anything that you use. How do you do that? How do you guys handle web resource citations? I know you guys do it because you prefer web resources. So what are you using to help you with that? Help me out here. Somebody, when you find something on the web that you like, how do you cite it? What resource do you use? Yes?
Normally, when I cite something, I go to like a citation machine.
Yes.
And then I copy the link into that and fill out the information. If it's there, fill out the information that's missing from it, and I just hit go when it gives it to me.
So a citation generator. And we have links to citation generators on the library website if you can't remember BibMe or EasyBib or Citation Machine, any of those. They work. What is the other thing? So you have to create a citation. What are other things you need to consider when you're using web resources? I know you guys know this. Preston, tell me something.
That it's reliable.
You have to determine if it's reliable or not. And give me one element that might determine whether it's reliable.
It's like a .gov website.
Okay, so the domain name. .gov, .edu, those are good ones, right? What else? Connor, what might you think about if you're using a web resource to make sure that it's reliable?
The authors generally know about them.
Yep. Right. So the reputation of the author. What else? Anybody else? Is currency important when it was written?
Yes.
Sometimes, for sure, right? I mean, maybe for a U.S. history class, not so much. But for certain other classes that you're taking, if you're doing scientific research or something like that, you might want something that's more current. Okay, so those are the things. We've talked about those before, I know. But I just want to remind you that web resources are fine. You just have to work a little harder, okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you time to find one resource from one of those. So one source from one of those resources that I shared with you, okay? one resource, import the citation or create the citation, annotate it 3 sentences at least, and create one note card. And here is a reminder of some of those sources we talked about. I would add in source reference as well, since you guys are so early in your research. So the best thing to do would be to have your Noodle tools open, right, your project open, and then how many people are working with a partner? Okay, are you sitting with your partner? No. Would you like to be sitting with your partners?
No, she's in a different class.
Oh, okay, good job. Okay, correct. So if you make sure that you join your Noodle tools project together if you're working with a partner, so you don't replicate effort, and get started. Find one resource.
For clarification real quick, I haven't said this yet, so if you go to modules for the civil rights project assignment modules, and go to the assignment part 5, which is coming later in the class. Go to part 5, that's the annotated bibliography assignment, and that'll show you exactly what I'm looking for. It kind of lays it out. But it's 3 to 6 sentences. It's a brief description of what it is. And then it is a explanation of if it was, how it was useful for your project. That's all I'm looking for on it.
All right, I'm going to ask you to finish up whatever you're working on at this moment. Let me show you. I don't know if you guys know this about Noodle tools, but let's see. If you go to your dashboard of your project, after you finish what you're working on, you can come here and there's a to-do list at the bottom where you can add things for yourself so that you can kind of, like if you're in the middle of doing something, you could say, finish creating that note card, or I still, by this date, make sure that I've finished all my annotations, or I've got all my sources. If you are a to-do list lover like I am, and you love crossing things off your list, this is a really great way to kind of keep track of where you are and what you've done. This is over a month-long project, so it's a lot to keep track of if you're not working on it every day, and so just keep that in mind that that's an option. Okay, I was going to share with you, so if you would just finish up what you're doing and close your computers. I was going to share with you what I thought was one of the easier things to do. How many people are planning on conducting their own interview? I know you get extra points for that, right? Issue might be finding people old enough to, be able to talk about firsthand experiences. But if you are one of those people who has someone that you can talk to, or you're going to find someone to talk to, I'm going to show you how to create your citation for that, okay? If you go to sources and click on new source, now if you're using an interview that's already been pre-recorded or transcribed or anything like that, hopefully you're getting it through the databases and you can just use the citation that is included. But if you're not, it would be something similar to this. Create a new citation. We would go to this subheading called Viewed/Heard Live. We'll click on that, and then over here in pink, standing all by itself, is Interview. Click on Interview. If you're doing a personal interview, you'll leave this where it is. Otherwise, you could have done an interview through IMs, through a letter, through a video conference, something like that. You just have to put down what it is. You'll click on I conducted this interview, and then the role of the individual participants, you will put yourself and you will put the other person who you interviewed, okay? So there is the interviewee, there's the interview, you are the interviewer. You'll put both of those names in there and the date of the interview, and you'll save it, and you can add your annotation right here, which again is going to be 3 to 6 sentences, right? Anybody have questions on how to do that? I feel like that might be the easiest citation you're ever going to make. But anyway, so that is how you do an interview. Otherwise, if you're getting an interview from somewhere else, like I said, hopefully you're using one that has a citation that comes along with it, but you can always come back here and like there's a film or video recording, there's a performance, here's one from a television program. If you got one from say 60 Minutes, then it asks you questions regarding that. So you need to have all that information available. All right. Besides that, citing government documents. Do you anticipate using government documents like bills and other kinds of things in your website or your documentary? That one is not terribly hard. Like for instance, you might get those government documents from Library of Congress, which we went to. It lists many, many. If you go to sources and you add a new source, and you come over here and you say, I got it from a website, and then you come in this kind of tan corner, there's court case, you can choose on a court case, a government publication, a state bill or resolution, a U.S., let's see, where is it? A U.S. rule or regulation, a U.S. bill or resolution, and then it just asks you, it's going to ask you questions about, what is the title of the bill? What is the bill number? Which Congress was this, promulgated in? That kind of thing, all right? So you're just going to have that information available as you build it. Because the U.S. government websites are not going to have a citation for you. Okay. All right, so we've got that. Again, I really suggest U.S. history, Library of Congress, and classroom video on demand. Source for getting your background information. Just a reminder that plagiarism is bad. We are good people. Don't do the wrong thing. Give credit to everything. If you are using something that you've already written before, cite yourself, because as it turns out, that's something that is considered plagiarism. Anyway, again, plagiarism bad. Don't do it. Objectives. My hope today was that you'd find and use evidence to investigate questions. Do you feel like you found some evidence? And I was hoping that you would research to fill knowledge gaps, or at least be able to kind of move in that direction. Do you feel like you know maybe where to go to find some information to fill those gaps? Maybe? Thumbs up? You decide somebody? Thank you. All right.